tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Is this OPP? Oh,
hey, we could have come into that. Welcome, AfterBuzzers, to Monday Night Football. I'm your host, Christina Kaplan. I'm joined by my 2 mocha chocolate lattes and my Irish cream.
Wow, I've never been referred to as a Starbucks drink, but I'll take it as a compliment.
And I'm not Irish. Tell them your real name.
I'm like, and I'm not Irish.
Thaddeus Massey.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know about that.
And I'm a grande.
Yeah.
Just for the record.
I'm Kevin John, and I'm a
Venti.
Vidi.
What is that?
I have no idea what I just said.
And I'm Stef Z. I'm a Jets fan. I'm none of that coffee shit.
So
Hey,
you're
that was just the first
you're muy
thing
poquito.
I could come up with, so anyways. Hey, guys.
So, now, what would you, if you were to call yourself a Starbucks drink, what drink would you be?
I'd be a caramel macchiato.
You just had to whisper it so seductively.
Extra shots,
Macchiato.
'cause I'm
Can you turn me up, Alexis,
feisty.
please? You can't.
Yeah, I can't.
You're
I can't.
feisty. We know that.
Can you turn me up a
you're
tiny
always
bit
there to
too?
give a
Check,
quick
check.
scare. You know?
Turn me up. Yeah,
There you go.
you guys,
Alright.
if you didn't
There we
know,
go.
well, you
Levels are
don't
good,
know,
levels are
but
good.
Yeah.
on my way walking in tonight, Kevin jumped out of the bushes and made me drop my new iPhone 6 and scream.
It was hysterical, by the way. You know what?
I was-
For the fans, I'm going to record it next Monday when I jump out and scare her
No,
again.
I heard leaves rustling, and I was about 2 seconds away from literally sprinting to the door because I turned back twice, and I'm like,
That's some black
is there
shit.
somebody doing something? Like, what's going
Jumping
on?
out of the bushes. A black man has any business jumping out of any damn bushes, scared a white girl. Your ass will go to jail on GP.
Yeah.
And Tina's like, no, it was a joke. Nope, it's right here in paragraph C, section 34.
Great way to start the show with some racial
we
tension
actually
going
are here
on.
for Monday Night Football,
Yes, it was.
which clearly we're
I
not
will
talking
record
about
it for all
then.
you fans next Monday.
Hey,
But we don't want to see it.
That's funny.
They like our
paragraph
pre-show jokes.
I guess
jokery.
we're talking about jokery because the Jets had a bye, so there's nothing to pick on me about.
Exactly. We can't talk about the Jets because
Well,
they didn't
except
even
for the
play.
fact that Rex Ryan got a $100,000 fine for saying what you have said the past 2 episodes, the F word, and
God I
he
didn't
was
get a
pissed apparently
fine for that.
after beating the Steelers. Which, why are you mad, Rex? I love you, Rex. I do, but why are you mad? We won a game. We won a game. We shut Roethlisberger down. Why are you mad?
Yeah, you got to start W somewhere. I mean,
Yeah.
goodness.
You know
It
what's
was at
funny?
the end of the game. Oh yeah.
Speaking of-
What was funny, Kevin? Tell me what was funny.
What's funny is your attitude right now.
I'm
pretty
ready
hilarious. No, honestly, for those the fans that don't know, I work as a school teacher during the day. So we actually had some Pittsburgh. This is a true story. On Friday, the minority owners of the Pittsburgh Steelers actually came to our school to talk to some of the kids. So it was hilarious. They were talking about what it's like to be on the front office and that because obviously they're not like coaches or anything. So they were saying one of the things going into their bye week, they have to figure out how it is that they lost to the worst team. I'm not lying. Those were his words exactly. He said, we got to come back from how we just lost to the worst team in the NFL. And
Worse than the Raiders?
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, he put them below the Raiders.
Of
Actually,
course he did, because he just
who
lost
the
to them and got
Chargers barely
embarrassed.
beat. But anyways,
A win is a win. That's
yeah.
all I'm going to say.
the Chargers are in the AFC West below the Broncos, the Chiefs, which means guess what? They're not going to the playoffs this year.
Hey,
so back to my story.
there's about
you know,
9 games, didn't you say?
Trying to get her to say
9
the
weeks
F-bomb.
left?
Yeah.
Anyways,
It's not going to happen. Speaking of Ben Roethlisberger that you mentioned earlier, the Steelers played in Monday Night Football tonight. They
She did. She
barely
just-
beat the Titans,
Hey,
27
she
to
got
24.
the claw out with the nails.
Yeah,
Let's talk about my Chargers, damn it.
just stop
but no,
trying to
just
rile me
not to go
up,
off the subject.
'cause
But do you really
it's
think the
just-
Chargers are going to make the playoffs this year?
I think there's a chance if they continue to play well the rest of the season. They have
Yeah.
to win the rest of this
So you
season.
think they played well Sunday?
No,
Yeah.
but they won. That's what I'm saying. They have to
Well,
win
they
the
can't
rest
win like that.
But they have to win the rest of the season, and then
So
they have
Because
a
they
chance.
almost lost to the team that's worse than the Jets.
That is very true.
They
That
almost
is
lost,
very,
but they didn't.
Very true.
But they didn't. So
After losing to
That's all that really
37-0
matters.
from the
I know what's wrong with the
Dolphins.
Chargers this year. I mean, are you?
they started off hot and just kind of fizzled out for a little bit, you know.
I mean, they didn't fizzle out. They
Did
got
they choke?
cold.
Coming from you, I mean, I'm not.
My team's adamant, dude. I can say whatever I
Okay,
want.
She had a bye week.
Steph had the gall to say that she thinks the Jets are going to make it to the Super Bowl before the 49ers.
I did.
Yes,
and I do.
she said that.
I pretended like. Oh, didn't you have a bet that you wanted to make with me?
$100.
You hear that, sports fan? She's putting $100 bet that her Jets. I can't even say this without laughing, but that her Jets will make the Super Bowl before the 49ers do.
But they also bet that if the Jets made it to the playoffs, or no, if they made it to the Super Bowl this year, that Kevin John would get a tattoo.
A Jets tattoo
of
on
Rex
his
Rex
right.
Ryan on his neck.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's the only
Yeah.
reason why we could ever root for the Jets is simply for that.
So next
you
season,
imagine-
if you see Kevin John show up in turtlenecks,
You know
You
why.
know why?
yes. Because some girl gave me a hickey. So.
no.
Probably not, because we saw how you were talking to those girls earlier.
Oh, that's not part of the show. All right.
Anyways, like I said, the Steelers barely beat the Titans tonight, 27-24. The Steelers are now 7-4 on the season. Titans 2-8. Another lowly team.
Lowly?
Yeah, if you want to talk about that.
I mean, honestly, the Titans didn't do too bad tonight. Just
No.
of course, the record is not gonna properly
Display.
Until
express,
the
display
third
how
quarter, they
yeah,
played
I mean,
awesome.
They were in this game. It was actually
Yeah.
a really good game this evening,
Yeah.
and they were giving the Steelers run for their money. There was a drive or two where Roethlisberger was getting sacked play
got
after
sacked
play.
He got
twice in a row.
back-to-back
Right, back-to-back
sacks.
sacks, and they were putting pressure on him and whatnot. So, I mean, how often do they have the lead? They had the lead. They got the lead just once.
They had the lead.
Steelers?
No,
the
the Titans.
Titans.
The Titans had the lead heading into the fourth quarter.
yeah, they were
Right.
up by
Yeah.
11.
Right, so they were
They
playing
were
this
they
game.
were down then up. They didn't have the lead the whole game though.
Right.
But
so
the majority of the game, they were leading.
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, I was like, oh shit, we all picked the Steelers. So okay, we're good.
We did.
lose
Hey,
this
let's
week.
talk about that real
Right.
quick. I want to give a big shout out to Fantasy Stats Guru. This fan, you're amazing. We love you so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your comments. He actually gave us our tally of where
He
we
did.
are.
He did.
So
I don't
here,
know.
here it
but
is.
we don't want to hear it though. So, anyways.
Oh, yes, we
No,
do.
we do. All right. Yeah, we do.
We don't. I don't want to hear
you,
it.
you almost have as much.
I'll be back. I'll be back for this part of the show. All right, go ahead. Dude.
All right.
Moonwalk out. Go ahead.
No, you stay. Christina, you for Monday Night Football, you picked the Steelers, so you're gonna be 6-4. Okay, you're 6-4.
Wait,
Well,
how am I 6-4 if I pick the
She'll be
Steelers?
7-3.
They won.
She'll be 7-3.
okay, I'm gonna do before today because then we got to add in all our picks from last
Exactly.
week. So as of last Monday, you were 6-3 for Monday Night Football, and you're in first place, 14-6 for overall picks.
Thank you very
The
much.
fact that you work at NFL Network and have a lot more access to stats and information than all of us.
True
If
that.
you weren't in first place,
Hey.
you'd be doing something wrong. Look, you got all your papers and stuff there. We
Yeah,
just watched
stats,
the
I
game
can't
and
even
talk.
read that.
Okay, Thaddeus, you are for Monday Night Football. You are 5-3, and overall you are 13-6. So you are
There's a
absent
game
once.
missing.
That's because you weren't here.
Oh, I wasn't here for a week. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Kevin from Monday Night Football, my
Anyways,
friend,
let's skip on to
you
stuff.
are 1-4. 1-4.
So
This is
obviously
making me
the
feel more
49ers
confident
is
about
the
my
only
betting.
one.
Time out. First of all, being 1-4 is something a Jets fan can relate to. Second of all, you got to realize I enjoy.
If I was 1-4, dude, I'd be happy.
That's terrible.
I have a better attitude as a Jets fan than you do as a Niners fan. Your team's better than mine. That's a problem. Moving on. Your overall record is 3-9.
What? How are
Hey,
you so
Kevin John.
bad?
Yeah, that doesn't seem like
Okay,
it.
and then mine, I'm not the best either. But and I feel like I have more. No, I don't. Mine is I'm 4-5 for Monday Night Football, and I'm 9-11 overall. So I'm
so
about
you have
500.
You have a better
almost.
percentage of wins versus losses.
Now, see, what Fantasy Stats Guru did not point on there is the overall knowledge and insight that went into our predictions for these things. Now, that
Well,
1 and
clearly
4,
you didn't have enough.
the 1 and 4
I don't know where
does
you're
not
going with this.
I'm trying to figure this one
I feel
out.
like you're
Let's
You know,
just,
see,
let's
this is the
just
thing.
get back to talking about the game tonight.
Yeah,
How about
and
that?
let's just all give a good shout
this is
out
the
to
thing.
Fantasy Stats
Yes,
Guru. We
thank
really
you
Fan-
so
thank you.
appreciate
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
the
you.
best.
Thank you, Fantasy
All right, cool.
Stats
And
Guru.
back
for-
to the game.
So, like we were mentioning about the Titans earlier, I am curious to know what you guys think. You all agreed that we saw sparks of a good team there. Do you think that this was just a fluke? They happened to be playing well, or do you think they're kind of an underdog team and they just can't finish the game?
You know, first things first, from watching the first and second quarter of this game, the Tennessee Titans did a good job of controlling the ball, controlling the line of scrimmage. And I'm not even speaking defensively. Offensively, they were very efficient at running plays. They converted, I don't have it exactly, but a lot of first downs the first half, and they looked sharp. They weren't looking like a team that was, confused, trying to find their identity. They looked very fluent out there. So with that being said, I think it's more of them not being able to finish. Because they looked extremely sharp in the first half, and I thought they were going to run away with the game. And then they got that big 80-yard bomb right before the end of the first half as well, just to kind of go into the halftime with some momentum.
Who scored that touchdown?
The 80-yard
Yeah, who
bomb,
did score that?
it was
Before
you tell me.
His name was Washington.
Yeah.
Well, Metaburger threw it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who
but
else
actually,
did it through it? Tebow?
On
know,
his third start
Metaburger.
as a rookie.
Yeah, I would have to say,
Metaburger.
although Kevin's
cheese?
recap is a little bit vague of the first half of the game, I would have to say that the defense also allowed them for those turnovers. They had
Yes.
back-to-back sacks. They took Ben down. Roethlisberger couldn't throw the ball. I mean,
They were
well,
blitzing every single
time.
play.
Yeah.
The D made them have those. They gave the offense the opportunity to score, and they did. They produced, but it wasn't like they had a 40-point game. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like they did capitalize on what the defense was doing. Is what I think. And to answer your question even more so, it was funny. The three of us actually got together, watched the game tonight. Tina Cap was too cool, but we actually, there was people in the bar that weren't even Titan fans that were just saying, this looks like a playoff team, like in the beginning of the game,
Right.
and they're like, aren't
Right.
they like 2-8 or what, their record? I think was, what are they, 3 and?
Well, they're
what's their-
2-8 now. They were
They're
2-7
yeah.
going into the
So
game.
they were just like, it's so crazy. They're playing so well, which I would imagine.
But they've also
most
played
people
some
would-
really competitive teams up until this point. It wasn't like they had the easiest schedule in the NFL.
right. But it's team 2-8 going in against the Steelers. You would think
There have been
although the
a
Jets
number
won.
of teams in NFL history who've actually played well and just came up short, and they had
Yeah.
losing records.
Yeah.
Well, speaking
Well,
of,
you know, to bring this back, and again, not just to bring it back to my Jets, but like are the Steelers just not performing to their capability that they were a couple weeks ago? Is that why teams like the Titans are getting close? Is that why teams like the Jets could win? You know what I mean? Like, what happened to the Steelers? They were on
They lost 3 pivotal players on
Yeah.
defense. That is their problem right now because obviously they don't have a problem on offense. Le'Veon Bell rushed for over 200 yards tonight.
Good job, kid.
Antonio Brown had another great game. Heath Miller, 71 yards. So offensively, they're not having an issue. I think it's the lack of Ryan Shazier, Troy Polamalu, and Ike Taylor, 3 main guys on their defense.
Well, I don't know that I agree.
I was gonna say I don't think it's necessarily I mean, for the most part, their defense was pretty good tonight. I mean, they weren't. You take away the 80-yard bomb by Nate Washington at the end of the half, and I thought they were pretty solid. I think first things first, you got to realize offensively, Ben obviously is not going to throw 6 touchdowns every game, and when they were going through
Couldn't connect on anything tonight.
yeah, exactly. When they were going through that hot streak, I mean, Ben was as hot as a tire in the middle of Death Valley in the summertime. So, scorching. So, anyways,
A weird.
you gotta love that analogy. Was that a good analogy?
No.
As hot as a tire in the middle of the desert.
That's
Yeah.
probably
In the middle of
really hot.
summertime.
That's
because the
extremely hot.
rubber. Yeah.
Scorching.
Exactly. We weren't supposed to scientifically figure out the physics of it. But
Anyway.
anyway, like I'm saying, Ben, he was extremely hot when they were going through that particular period. So therefore, I feel like I have a moving microphone here. So therefore, basically the point I'm trying to say is that, you know, their offense was clicking at the right time when they were going through that extremely hot speed. And the defensive coordinator, they found ways. Even though Antonio Bryant was effective tonight, he was held for under 100 yards. He did have the one touchdown that he came up with, the 12-yard pass, which actually put them ahead. But, you know, I think that the secondaries have really been cracking in on them.
Well, obviously, their ground game was just, I mean, they couldn't stop Le'Veon Bell tonight.
Beast.
And what I like, or I guess I should say what I enjoy watching about him is the way that he attacks each play. He's patient. You know, he kind of...
Bell?
Yes, Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
He, you know, he kind of doesn't come rushing in like a Marshawn Lynch, like full speed right off the bat. He kind of is, like they mentioned a bunch of times, he's patient with the play, where he'll, you know, start slow and stutter step and then cut left and just find the lane.
He waits to he waits to see it. He waits to see
He lets
the
the play
options.
develop.
Yes.
He allows the play
He's
to develop.
a
He
very
allows his
smart-
block. He allows his linemen to pick up the blocks, and because of his explosion and his explosiveness, he's able to get that low stutter step, as you mentioned, which is the change of pace, and then just explode into the opening, explode into the hole, and then just go. Besides that, he has really good feet.
Yes, he
This
does.
guy's footwork, I was really, really impressed.
You were screaming at the
He
TV.
breaks
I'm
ankles.
like,
He
yo,
breaks
I'll be
ankles.
quite honest with you. Just as a former runner, somebody who has vision like that, which is very rare. You don't see, there's not a whole lot of guys with that kind of vision, especially someone who can actually make people miss in a hole that's yay wide. It's not very big. He's running and making
And
people
Ye,
miss.
just for you guys that are listening, not watching, Ye was about a foot wide.
It's like a couple feet. Yeah, exactly. It's not very wide, right? So this guy, he definitely runs with vision. You could see the way he was cutting, the way he was making guys miss, and he was exploding in the hole. And the fact that he was falling forward most of the time just is a testament to his explosiveness, because he had guys that were hitting him. Like, he's not a small dude himself by any means, but you know,
he got rocked a couple times.
Yeah, he did get rocked a couple
ripped his
times.
jersey.
But I think, you know, because he ran so hard in the hole, I think a couple of those times a lot of other backs would have probably fallen back,
Right.
especially based on how hard he got smacked a couple
Right.
times. So this guy really put the rest of the NFL on notice. Everybody's paying attention to him now.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, he
for
broke
sure.
a few records tonight. He
200 yards, NFL, Monday Night Football.
He's the only Pittsburgh running back to ever on Monday Night Football rush for over 200 yards. He's passed Franco Harris now for the most rush yards by a Steeler in the first 2 seasons. And he's second in the league in rush yards behind DeMarco Murray. He's got 1,233. He's got 951 now.
Well, you know, the most important thing that you guys have to take away from this game is the X factor, which was their offensive line. I don't care who you are as a running back, Barry Sanders, Adrian Peterson, Emmitt Smith, you're not going to get 200 yards by yourself.
Of course not.
Barry may have been the only exception because he was just that gifted and played that long without a solid line. But for the most part, you know, you need the assistance, you need the help. And even though their offensive line did surrender a few sacks in the first half, I mean, they were sharp. I was looking at some of the holes that Le'Veon Bell, like you said, he you know, he was waiting before he made his cut or went through whichever hole for the opening. And his offensive line, they weren't just blocking just a person off the line of scrimmage. They would block, release, and then go block somebody else down the field.
Shed the block.
That takes true athleticism from an
shed the
offensive
block and
lineman.
then go block
I love that.
downfield.
That's my favorite word ever. Athleticism.
But the problem with that is they weren't doing that in the first half. The offensive line was not there in the first half.
It wasn't. I thought they were trying to do more of a passing game in the first
Right,
half.
and Ben didn't have enough time. Obviously, he got sacked multiple times.
He seemed like he got flustered a little bit.
Yeah.
He was like,
Seems a little.
he was like, what the heck is this? What's going on?
And Le'Veon Bell didn't really get going until the end of the first half, and then really took off in the second half.
If you look at their last drive,
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. If you look at their last drive in the second half when they sealed the deal when they were just running the ball out, Le'Veon Bell was running like a madman.
Yeah.
Like a man on a mission that just got released from prison and was like, I have to get this first down. I don't know why I just used a prison reference, but at any rate, it's a sensitive subject in the NFL right now. But at any rate, Le'Veon Bell was, my analogies are off tonight, I admit.
Yeah.
But anyways, Le'Veon Bell, that last particular series, he completely took over. I mean, he reminded me of Jerome Bettis, the bus.
Bus.
You know what's
another
funny?
old
It's
Pittsburgh
funny.
Steeler
It's
that
funny
just
you
would-
mentioned that because for a big guy, Jerome was known for his footwork. He had really, really good
Yeah,
feet.
he was huge.
He just wasn't a fast.
Exactly.
He wasn't a fast guy, but he would lower the boom on you. But he had really, really good feet.
He did.
And some of those stutter steps kind of remind me. Jerome used to do some of those. Some of those same things, had some of those same tendencies when he ran.
It makes me wonder how come Jerome Bettis never went on Dancing with the Stars. I think he could sauce it with those feet. Graceful.
Well, fun fact,
Graceful.
Jerome Bettis was good enough to go pro as a bowler.
Oh, wow.
That dude is really athletic.
Well, he has
could
arm
actually-
strength. I mean, he could
bowl, like really
He
bowl.
could shot put the bowling ball.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get in trouble if I say that out loud.
Say it.
But-
Say it.
You think bowling requires true athleticism?
I'm offended. I
Are
know
you a
people.
professional bowler?
No, but I know
I
some
can picture
PBA.
you in that little
It's a
pinstripe
sport.
shirt.
It's a sport.
It's a sport, but
That's my only defense.
but you,
I would definitely think that bowling is a sport over cheerleading.
Ooh, you guys are just really trying to offend people today,
yeah,
aren't you?
I would disagree.
Surely
this is
it
like,
requires a lot.
I would.
You're gonna
100%
defend cheerleading?
I would 100% defend cheerleading. Over athleticism and being able to throw yourself, do the acrobatic, do this, that, and the other thing. Cheerleading
But
rather
as
than
a
standing
sport,
and throwing.
As a sport
It's very
is what I'm
competitive.
saying. I didn't say they weren't athletic.
Mm-hmm.
They are. Cheerleaders, gymnasts, very athletic. But I don't think that cheerleading
Well, my
is a
comment was
sport.
that bowling doesn't seem
You don't need athleticism to be a bowler.
right.
What
So
about golf?
I think
What
you
about
need
golf? What about
athleticism
golf?
to be a cheerleader.
What about
so
golf?
That's that. Do you need athleticism for golf?
Yeah, you need accuracy. There's
Right,
a
but
lot
what do we
that-
define athleticism? I guess for me, for athleticism, which is like the word of the day.
Deion Sanders.
I feel that, yeah,
That
like I
defines
feel that
athleticism.
it's being physically
Physical
fit in
ability.
a way that you
Like
have
pure just
agility.
physical ability
Yes.
without
Not the.
without
and I
the
feel like the sport
balls and
should
whatever.
require that. Like in golf, yes, you have to, but there's another aspect to being an athlete that is just you have to have the discipline to practice to get better. So do all these other things require that discipline?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Do they require you to be as physically fit?
so gamers aren't athletes.
Bullshit. No.
Well, this
I call BS.
This raises an interesting topic, not to go too much off subject, but if you guys remember the ESPY Awards a few years ago, the NASCAR driver was named Athlete of the Year. Was it Earnhardt or I forgot?
Dale Earnhardt Jr.?
Maybe it was Dale. I forgot exactly who
See,
it
but
was.
I
Maybe
think
I'm-
that
but
NASCAR is
there was
more
so
of
much
athletes than
controversy
other stuff.
because athletes were saying, how can you give a person who drives a car Athlete of the Year? And, it raised a pretty interesting debate.
Because what you put your body through in order to train for that, to be in the car going circle and circle and circle, like what your body goes through just traveling at speeds like that. If you crash, you have to be strong in many different ways. So I would understand that. I would understand that more than a bowler or a golfer.
Anyways, speaking of athleticism,
And I love golf.
What about if you play croquet?
That's like saying if you play jarts.
Okay.
Horseshoes.
Back to the game.
let's get back to the game. We talked about Le'Veon Bell and the run game on the Pittsburgh side, so
Yes.
let's switch over to the Titans, who really couldn't get much going in the run game. They had Bishop Sankey with 11 rushes for 38 yards and a touchdown. Now he is a rookie, went to UW, University of Washington.
Yeah. I remember him in college.
Yeah. Mettenberger's a rookie. Taylor Lewan's a rookie, their left tackle. What do you guys think of these rookies on the Titans? Do you have high hopes for them? Do you think that they are promising?
I think they're very promising. They're showing they're getting the kind of seasoning that's gonna make them really be able to contribute to. Because I mean, you know, this game, like tonight, was a pure example. This game could have gone either way. So you have rookies like that are able to contribute to the productivity of their organization, and the next thing you know, those L's in the next season or two are going to turn into W's, and you're looking at a winning organization that could at least make a playoff appearance.
I agree. Do you think that Zach Mettenberger is the answer for the future at quarterback for the Titans?
That's a tough question.
I mean, I know he's only had 3 starts, so
right.
it's not a lot to really judge on.
You know, we definitely have to see more from him, but I would say there's more promise for Mettenberger at Tennessee than there is for Sanchez at Philadelphia.
Ooh, wow. I like that little diss there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
How was that a
Interesting.
diss?
That's not a diss.
It's not my quarterback.
That's not what I wasn't a diss towards you either.
And if you remember correctly,
speaking
last year, last week, everyone loved Sanchez and how well he played. The sports commentators were like saying he was the best thing since sliced bread. And I'm like, wait a minute, he was good when he came to, and look at how he did yesterday.
Right. That's just within the context
Yes.
of the ongoing conversation we've been having to make a comparison.
Right.
You know, so.
Yeah, no, to answer your question, you know, first things first, this is not one of those losses where the Titans need to go into the locker room, hold their heads down, be demoralized, and discouraged about what happened. This is a very good Pittsburgh Steelers team that they just played, who is on a roll, despite the catastrophic loss last week against the Jets, but it's on a roll. And, you know, since the Roethlisberger era, they've won 2 Super Bowls. They've been 3 times. So, you know, for them to be, like you said, have those many notable rookies and to be able to perform this well, if anything, this was an encouraging win. And I think that going in and looking into next week and throughout the rest of the season, they're going to find ways to gel together. Now, Mettenberger, this is only his 3rd start as a quarterback. You need a lot more development until you really start to progress, you know, at an exponential rate. But at the end of the day, I don't think the Titans were horrible tonight. I mean, this didn't look like a team
Definitely
that was.
not.
Yeah.
They weren't horrible, but I feel like this is one of those games where they go into the locker room being like, man, we should have won that game. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like
yeah.
they shut
They could have had
Roethlisberger
it.
down.
Yeah.
They just couldn't shut Bell down.
They couldn't finish the game.
Right.
Listen, whoever's going to control, if you can control the clock by controlling the run, then you have the game under control.
Yeah.
You know, the whole point is to actually, you know, establish the run, and then you could open the pass up. I mean, Brown, he had what? How many did he have? Like 2 touchdown receptions?
No.
Yeah, 9 receptions, 91 yards, and 1 touchdown.
He had
Yeah.
1 touchdown. Okay. And
Yeah.
then I think he had another key reception that was pretty big at one point. Maybe it wasn't a touchdown, but he had a couple of like key receptions.
Yeah, he did.
Him and Roethlisberger connected, but that was all based on them establishing the run, right? So Le'Veon Bell was able to, and even though the line did really well in protecting him, he actually had 100 yards in run after contact yardage. This guy actually produced on his own, even though the line produced for him as well, and they did contribute heavily. This guy worked for those yards tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Oh,
did.
yeah. Yeah. And my thing about the offensive line is not to take anything away from, you know,
Yeah, for
Le'Veon
sure.
Bell. I mean, we were just talking about how good his footwork is and his patience. And,
Yeah.
I mean, clearly looked like an elite running back tonight. But, you know, with that being said, you know, run yards after contact truly shows the endurance and just overall
Athleticism.
strength and physicality and athleticism.
He's a big guy, too. He's like 6'1". I don't know. We didn't get a stat on his weight, but
Yeah, he's 6'1", though.
you know, when you see a guy run like that in that style, you know who he kind of reminds me of a little bit? Fred. Is it Fred Johnson? Fred Jackson? No, Fred Taylor.
Fred Taylor from Jacksonville?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm thinking of Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, yeah.
Fred Taylor.
Fred Taylor,
He
yeah.
kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, he
that
does.
style a little bit.
He
that
does.
stutter and then explode into a whole kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
except he's, you know, just. I think I don't know, he might be a little stronger because he dipped on a couple guys a few times. Like when he was confident to make that contact, he just kind of lowered his shoulder and kind of fell forward.
No,
And he knew how to slip and slide. He was real slippery. Like there was a
He
couple
was.
times he just kind of turned and then
He had
just
grease
kind
on
of
him.
went with he knows how to roll with the contact and just like, you know, pick up that extra yardage. A lot of guys, they resist. So then it's easier to bring them down as opposed to rolling with it. It's kind of like martial arts. Sometimes, you roll with the using somebody else's momentum against them kind of thing. Yeah. He did that a lot.
Well, I think that just goes to show how in tune they are with their bodies.
Right.
You know what I mean? And being fit does that. And a lot of these guys you read too do like yoga and all this stuff, so they have flexibility, so they can just kind of be in control of all of that.
Yeah.
So I think that has a lot to do with what you're saying over there.
Yeah.
Now, a lot has been said of Le'Veon Bell's dominance. I just want to ask you guys, do you think that, and just not taking anything away from him, do you attribute it more to him just being this outstanding dominant runner, or do you attribute it more to the Titans defense just collapsing in the second half?
I think that Le'Veon Bell is an extremely talented, all-purpose running back. We've seen in, all season, he's been able to perform. He's very good. I think that, yes, the Titans defense did collapse, but I would put more credit on Le'Veon Bell than I would on their collapse.
Their collapse.
Yeah.
Okay, I can dig it.
I agree.
Thaddeus?
I concur with that one.
I agree too. I also think that, clearly when they saw that Roethlisberger was having a slump or whatever's happening with him and he couldn't make the passes, that they changed the whole game plan and gave him more opportunity to run because they saw him exploding. And, when someone on your team is on fire, like if it's working, just keep working, don't
keep giving them the ball.
If it ain't broke, don't try and fix it. So because Roethlisberger couldn't connect on the passes and he was getting sacked and there was clearly a breakdown in that game plan, I think towards the end of the first half and the beginning of the third quarter is they rethought how they were going to do the game plan, and that's when we kind of saw him start explode more.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Obviously, Kevin, you mentioned the catastrophic loss that the Steelers suffered to the Jets. And you would think that...
I'm going to say Ben Roethlisberger played worse tonight than he did against the Jets.
Right, so let me get my question out. Are you guys concerned at the way that they responded, that the way that they did not bounce back from that loss until the second half? Are you concerned with the way that they responded to that loss?
Well, anytime you lose to the worst team in the NFL, it's going to take you a while. That's going to shake you a little bit, especially when you're on fire. Because you got to realize they lost to that team right after they were just scorching teams. I mean, just doing unprecedented numbers.
But that's what divides the winners and that's what divides the winners and the champions. It's like if you can't bounce back, no matter who you play, no matter who you lose to, if you can't bounce back the next week and play a team that's 2-7 after you lost to a team that was 1-8. You got a problem.
Right, and that's why I'm asking it, because I think that the way that they responded tonight, they didn't show up until the second half. And you would think that after a loss like that, regardless, like you said, Steph, regardless if it's the worst team in the league or the best team in the league, after a loss, you're expected to bounce back in a certain way and somewhat redeem yourself. Come out and prove that you didn't deserve that loss and play better. They came out kind of just flat.
Well, one thing you got to realize is that, when Pittsburgh was going through that hot streak, specifically offensively, defenses or defensive coordinators from opposing teams that you're going to play, they look at that, they read that video and see things. And you saw a lot of schemes tonight where the Titans had a double over on Antonio Brown. Quite a few times you saw them in either cover 2 or deep, but
he caught that touchdown on double coverage.
He pulled a hell of a juke. Did you see that route he ran?
Yes.
But a lot of it was just misfired passes.
Yeah.
the first half.
Right, and I don't want to take away from the Titans defense, like you were saying. They did scheme well.
Yeah, they applied pressure on Ben.
Right.
They sacked him several times. And when you start applying pressure on a quarterback and keep hitting them, that's going to throw off the QB. That's going to throw them off of their rhythm. Right. And, they're not going to be able to make the passes that they routinely make. So I give a lot of that just credit to the Titans defense in the first half. They came with a great defensive package, and they executed it very well. So I don't think that was much as a collapse of the Steelers in the first half. I just think that the Titans did a very good job defending it.
I wouldn't say they collapsed. I would just say that they didn't come out with any sort of fire lit under them, which, I mean, speaking for myself, whenever I ever lost on a team, the next game that we played, it was like we came out and crushed them because that's what you're supposed to do after you lose. It's like nobody ever is supposed to lose. You never want to lose. And
Unless
so
you're the Raiders. Right.
Well, I don't think they want to lose. They're just very bad. But no, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a little concerned with the Steelers team. I think they have a lot of talent. I think they can be really good. They are really good, but I just don't know. Mentally, maybe they're not quite in the right spot. Do you guys disagree with me?
I think they're in great condition because, first of all, they found, Le'Veon Bell has always been a beast, but they just found that, they found that he truly can carry this team if need be. It doesn't always have to rest on Roethlisberger or Brown, or any of their offensive weapons. It's not like they just found Le'Veon Bell as his weapon, but they see now, when he gets going, the power that he can bring to the team. So I think, if anything, it may be an encouraging win for them.
Right, but these come from behind wins. It's not going to work. It's not going to be successful against every single team. This is a struggling Titans team. I'm looking at their rankings right here: 31st in offense, 22nd in defense, 27th in passing, 23rd in rushing. Not, a struggling Titans team. Put them up against a Packers team. They're not going to be able to come from behind and pull off these close wins. That's what I'm getting at, is that they have the makings of a good, possibly championship, definitely playoff bound team, but they're just, I don't know why they're not reacting the way that I would have expected after a loss. That's all.
Who do the Steelers have next week?
Next week they have a bye week, and then week 13 they play the Saints.
The Saints, okay. Well, I'm sure going into their bye,
struggling as well. So.
Yeah, that'd be maybe a good game. They're both kind of in the same place.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I understand what you're saying. You bring up a lot of legitimate points, but I don't think it's as big a concern as you're making it. I think it's just, the fact, Ben wasn't as accurate as he should have been on a lot of those throws.
Yeah, I think it's more on Ben, to be honest with you. I think that it's the fact that... Are we okay there?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you just almost pulled my earphones off. I think that...
I meant to do that.
He went from throwing 6 touchdowns a game to 1.
Yeah.
Right.
If that, the lucky pass.
Right.
Yeah, and he's good. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but clearly he's not performing the way that he had been.
And every great team, I understand what you're saying. Great teams, they come in and execute dominance from the beginning, but every great team is going to have a fall. If you look at the Broncos this past week, they had, that was very uncharacteristic of them.
Complete meltdown.
But another thing is the Rams, speaking of losing teams that do well, the Rams have beaten the Seahawks, defending Super Bowl champions, the Niners, probably arguably the second best team in the league. There's no bias behind that. And, the Broncos.
Wait, the Rams are who beat you last week?
Whatever. That was a goal line
Look
mistake.
at you defending them.
Goal line mistake.
Well, since the Rams now beat them too, it's okay.
But anyways, what I'm saying is, on any given week, kind of like the Jets beat the Steelers last week. The Rams beat the Broncos. Sometimes... I think a lot of times these great teams, when they go into playing teams that are subpar, they may not. Now, I'm not saying the Broncos don't prepare as good, because we all know Peyton Manning is the genius of preparing. He's the god of that. But I just think sometimes, when these great teams are playing these teams that are a little subpar, they may not come into it thinking, okay, we have to put our best foot forward. We have to play as hard as we have to, and things of that sort. Now,
right, and that's what Steph was saying earlier. That's what separates winners from champions. That's what the point that I'm making is this Steelers team has the potential to be a championship team, but they're coming into these, like you just said, coming against a subpar team and not, performing as if they were playing the Seahawks, the reigning champions. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to make it a huge issue. It's just obviously, it's the game. That's what happened tonight. So we want
the Steelers
like a little bit of a
will
debate,
be all right.
The
Steelers will be all right. So, by the way, is it me or our microphone covers look like those Steelers socks that they wore that one time? Those hideous bumblebee uniforms
I
they had on?
like those uniforms.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
But you
Of
know,
course you do.
we like Tina likes ratchet stuff anyway. So, anyways,
true.
2 Chainz. So, anyways,
No, let me ask you. Okay, let's talk about a question that's not.
Thaddeus, you awake over there?
I am.
No.
I'm wide awake. I'm just soaking this all in right now. You guys are out of control. Anyway, go ahead, Tina.
Okay, so the Steelers are now 7-4. I want to know. The AFC North is a competitive division. Who do you guys think is going to win? We have the Bengals at 6-3-1, Ravens at 6-4, and the Browns at 6-4. It's a relatively even division compared to, some of the other ones.
well, I'll say this: the Bengals are definitely hungry. They're hungry. They have a lot to prove, but. I'm gonna go with the Ravens, and I'm gonna just say the Ravens is because they, other than the Steelers, they're very experienced postseason wise, and that can testament to that is winning the Super Bowl a couple of years ago.
They come from a tradition. They're very seasoned.
Exactly.
They're seasoned,
Yeah.
and
Crisp.
they have and they still have the wherewithal to make it happen for them if they want to do it.
Sorry, I was just looking at the standings, and the Jets are 6 games behind.
And remember,
Oh.
she said the Jets were gonna make the
Those poor
Super Bowl
Justin
this year. or
I
something?
didn't say this year.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no. Let's be clear, my friend, because your 49ers are not going to the Super Bowl this year either.
We should make a bet on that. Are you, first of all, the Seattle lost yesterday, which means the 49ers actually are second in the NFC West behind Arizona, who's playing hell of a football right now. And I think the Niners are a better team than Arizona. So
The Niners are not going to
Did
the
you
Super Bowl.
really just say that?
I think the Niners are. I did say that.
The Niners are better than Arizona.
I think the Niners are better than
out
Arizona.
of your mind,
Good.
Kevin John.
Good. That's a compliment. I'll
Wait,
take
are
that.
you guys with me that the Niners are not going to the Super Bowl?
They are not.
No.
And
not
they are
this year.
most definitely not
Okay.
better than the Cardinals.
Tina, are the Chargers going to the Super Bowl this year?
No, I'm a realistic fan. They're not
Man,
going to go
you
to the
are
Super Bowl.
not a true fan.
I hope they
So
make
that
the
fast.
playoffs, but
Wait,
there's-
how is that not a true fan? That would be like saying I think the Jets are going if I'm,
I'm
not
being
a
Well,
true
the
fan.
Jets are
I'm being realistic.
unequivocally not going.
Obviously, I would love.
I think it's
if
really
the
impossible.
Chargers made it. I just think there's a lot better teams in the league right now than the Chargers. And
No, I'll give the Arizona this. They're hot right now, 9-1. But remember
they're
this.
hot.
Arizona, yeah.
You think they're just hot? You don't think they're a good team?
No, they're a great team. But first of all, their quarterback is out. The rest of the Carson
Drew
Palmer.
Stanton
Now
has
Drew Stanton
stepped up and has
he
been
ca-
playing well.
He stepped up and he's did a good job taking that away. But you got to realize when you're a team this hot and you lose your starting quarterback the rest of your season, that does kind of make. Now I know the Cardinals will have persevered
Didn't
through
they have,
that.
like,
Stanton is-
let's-
Stanton has how many wins under his belt?
Like how many total career wins? Does he
No,
have?
I'm talking
Two,
about
in
this
this,
season.
he took over.
He
This
took-
was
he
his
took
second
over.
game.
This was the second
correct?
game, yeah.
And he's won both of them, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think they've picked up where they left off.
And
That says a lot. If
that
you can, that means a system is being effectively executed, and he just stepped up into that spot,
Yeah.
and he's just
Yeah, it's like a
taking
plug and
over.
play.
Exactly.
I'm not-
And you know that old
but-
saying, defense wins championships, right?
Offense wins games.
Yeah. Well, in order to
I think
win
she's trying to
championships,
say
you have
that
to win
you're-
games.
I
I'm
think
saying
she's
that
trying
the
to say
Cardinals
that
are the
the-
best defense in the NFL right now.
Okay.
Better
Still,
than the Legion of Boom.
Yeah.
Way better.
Yeah, Legion of Boom is not that good this year. They're the Legion of Doom this year.
Yes.
Okay.
But no, basically what I'm trying to say is yes, Stanton may be able to get it done, but when you talk playoff football and going to the Super Bowl, that takes serious veteranship, experience, leadership. You have to have all those intangibles, especially as a quarterback.
You think
you can't
Kaepernick
just
has,
step up into a team midway through and just take them to the Super Bowl. Now, Kaepernick did do that 2 years ago when Alex Smith went down, but Kaepernick's also a very special player for a very special team. So with that being said, am I saying that Drew
You're
Stanton?
so biased.
I kind of
It's
am.
So,
I'm sorry. I
It's
kinda
so
am.
funny because
But I'm admitting it.
You're not biased. You're deluded.
yeah,
You're
like
like-
you can't even admit when we're talking on a
It's like,
Monday night
at
football.
least I
Oh,
can
gosh.
admit that the Jets are terrible and we need a new
I-
GM
okay.
and all this stuff. You're just like, no, the Niners till I die.
Because I'm a
Which
loyal
I
fan.
am Jets
I'm a loyal.
for life.
But
It
you guys are
doesn't
sitting
mean
here.
you're not loyal
But I'm
if you're
realistic.
realistic. Yes.
The thing is, realistically,
It's
the
delusion.
Niners are in position to make the playoffs.
their
Realistically,
yes,
record right now?
make the playoffs.
They're in position
not
to make-
going to the Super
What's
Bowl.
their record right now?
They-
I'm just saying. All I'm saying is this:
6
having
and 4,
a
they're
backup
3 games
quarterback
behind.
in there
Not
who
going.
who hasn't had many starts underneath his belt. There's a whole lot of intangibles that he has to accumulate, that he has to have in order to take a team to the Super Bowl.
Did the
That's
Niners play
serious
Green
when
Bay this
postseason
year
comes.
yet?
Excuse me?
Did you play with Green Bay?
Well, first of all, we know that we've had Green Bay
There's a yes or no
in the
answer.
postseason.
Did you play them yet
The last
this
couple of
season?
years, we've taken out Green Bay of the divisional playoffs.
She asked
you do know
this
that.
season if you played
Did you play
them.
them yet? Did you play them? Are they on your schedule?
What does it matter? What does it matter?
I'm just asking if you're playing a team. That's it. I just wanted to know if
I
you
don't know
He
if
doesn't
we're- I
want
don't
to
know if
talk
the
about it
Niners-
because he knows
I don't know if the Niners are gonna
think
win that
the
game.
Niners
Packers
can
would
beat the
smash.
Packers.
I don't think the Niners
Packers
are
would
gonna. I don't think.
smash the
I don't think the
Niners.
Niners will win that.
Did you guys watch the
Smash.
last two NFC playoff rounds where the Niners played the Packers?
This is a whole new season.
That's like me
with-
being like, did you watch the Super Bowl in '69 when the Jets won?
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
First things first, 60. We're talking about
True.
two teams with pretty much the same players from last year and this year. Okay. Now Aaron Rodgers is hot this year. I'm not going to give it away. He's a legitimate MVP candidate.
He
Well,
will
that
not
means that
admit
means the
that
Seahawks
somebody's
by
good.
default
He
won the
just says,
championship
"Oh."
again this year.
Why do I feel
based
like you
on
guys
that
are all
logic.
teaming up on me?
Kevin's just saying that they're hot.
But based on that logic, that means the Seahawks are going to win again this year.
Are you guys looking up for the 49ers versus Packers? That's what
Yeah.
you guys are looking up. They played this past weekend, I think.
No, they didn't. The 49ers beat the Giants this past weekend.
No, yeah.
16 to 10.
Highlight here. Hold on, I'm looking at that.
Okay.
Alexis is looking it up for us.
Anyways,
Oh,
the
yeah.
the fact of the,
The
matter
49ers
is,
are not in the space or the shape or the condition to beat the Packers right now.
No.
but okay,
They're not.
But
I'm
we
not saying
played-
they're not capable. They're definitely capable, but I don't see them right now where they're at beating the Packers, where the Packers are at and where the now maybe later on down the season, maybe, but where the Packers are at right now and where the Niners are at right now, the Packers will win that game.
Yep.
I bet on the Packers. Maybe I'd lose the bet, but hey, I still think the Packers are in a better position to win that game right now.
Versus Packers,
At this point in the season.
23, Packers 20.
Huh?
49ers 23, Packers 20.
When?
January 5th, 2014.
Yeah, that was the
playoffs.
playoff that I told you about.
That was last
yeah.
year.
So like and also, another thing these guys got to realize is the 49ers they step it up come playoffs. Now, granted, they did lose against Seattle last year in the NFC Championship game.
That's part of their Achilles heel too, though.
What, the Niners? Historically,
Stepping it up just when
historically-
it's time for them to.
Historically, they have one of the best playoff records. If you really want to go back and look historically. for the Niners.
Historically, I mean, we're really gonna start talking about historically with Joe Montana and Steve Young and like a couple of the greatest teams in history. Like, really?
Actually, the '85 Bears were the greatest team in history.
I said one of the greatest. I said
And
a
I'm
couple of
not
the greatest
biased
teams in
against that.
We're not talking about historically them with
fridge.
with the Hall of Famers and
Yeah.
guys that.
The fridge,
Walter
Walter
Payton.
Payton.
Let's talk about right
Walter
now.
Payton.
Right now.
All
Joe
right.
Morris, the
we
Giants,
could
that
talk
was the
about
80s.
this forever, but let's move on
Let's
to
talk about how
our
the Chargers
predictions.
Boo boo.
All right, let's predict.
Thank you, Daddy.
Let's
Daddy's had to laugh at
predict.
that. Chargers are just.
Oh yeah, well, who's playing who?
So, like I said earlier, the
The coach of the
Steelers.
Chargers.
What is the Chargers
Can you
record?
stop?
What is the Chargers record?
I think it's probably actually I think it's the same as
think?
the
The 49ers?
49ers. Yes.
6-4?
Yes.
And then
What,
okay.
what is the
I know
Chargers
they
record?
lost 4
Oh my
games.
God, it is the same. So Kevin
Yeah,
John,
Kevin
and you know what?
John.
They're only 1 game behind, and you're 3. So
Yeah,
quit
Kevin
it.
John.
Hey, you know what? At the end of the
Yeah.
day,
Anyways, the Steelers have a bye week, week 12, and then they play the Saints. The Titans play the Eagles at the Eagles next week or this week.
Ooh, that might be a good game.
The Titans at in Philly.
Yeah.
The Titans are in
Okay,
Philly.
and then next Monday we have the
Damn, Titans are gonna lose again.
the Ravens at the Saints. So let's start. Steph, you can go ahead and start. Steelers versus Saints, Titans versus Eagles, and Ravens versus Saints.
Okay, what's the first one?
Okay,
Steelers versus Saints. Where is that being
They
played?
have, they have a bye week, week 12, and then they're going to play at home against the Saints in week 13.
I'm gonna go with the Steelers.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the Eagles. And what
Okay.
was the other game?
Ravens at Saints is next Monday. I think that's going to be a really good game.
Ravens
I'm
at
actually
Saints?
excited
Yeah.
for that.
I'm gonna go with the Saints.
Controversy.
Okay, Kevin.
I'm gonna start with the Ravens at Saints. I'm gonna go with the Saints as well because they're coming off a loss, and they know right now it's crunch time. This part of the season.
Okay.
So I say they come back, get a victory. The Eagles versus who is it?
Titans.
Where is that?
In Philly.
In Philly.
I don't know, because Mark Sanchez was looking quite Mark Sanchez this last game. So, but I say he gets
Also in
Sanchezy.
Lambeau, in
Sanchezy.
Mark
freezing
Sanchezy.
cold weather. He's going to be at home.
in freezing cold weather.
Yes, but I think it's a little bit different. I feel like there's nothing. I obviously have never been to Lambeau Field, but I feel like there's nothing like playing there. Everyone
It's a
always says
historical
that
stadium.
that stadium is just unrivaled when it comes to being freezing cold and
You talking
the
about Titans? You
conditions.
talking about Titans in Philly?
Yes, Titans
Okay.
in Philly, because
So-
he's saying that he's talking about Mark
So I'm gonna
Sanchez.
give I'm gonna give the win to the Eagles. I want to give it to the Titans. I really do.
So then
But
do
I
it.
think
Put your money where your mouth is.
because I'm
Damn.
one.
I mean, you might
Call
as
him
well.
out.
You know,
I have
no
nothing
way
to
you're
lose.
making playoffs. So.
I have nothing to lose here. You know what? I am gonna go against the grain, and I am gonna say Titans.
He's being strong
Okay.
armed
And
into the
reason
Titans.
being-
Look at how easily persuaded you are.
Reason
I'm
being
right.
is because
I'm
I think
good.
this past
Exactly.
loss to Mark Sanchez just cut down his confidence, and I think he's a little demoralized.
gonna choke?
And I just feel another butt fumble or something coming up this next game.
It's not choke
So-
time yet for Sanchez.
Okay,
And
so
then
what was the last game?
The last one you didn't pick was Steelers versus
Yeah, just pick
Saints
'em.
in Week 13.
I'll go with Steelers. I'll go with Pittsburgh.
Thaddeus?
Okay, so the first one was what again?
Well,
First,
you
let's go.
can start off
Let's
with-
go with Steelers. Steelers versus Saints.
Yeah.
In New Orleans.
Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I'll take Pittsburgh in that game. The other one was
Titans
the Ravens. The Ravens.
Ravens at Saints is next Monday.
I'll pick the Ravens also.
Titans
Sorry,
at Philly.
Saints. The Saints are more like the Stains to me. What is the other one?
Titans at Philly.
Philly. Philly over Titans.
Okay.
I feel kind of like Kevin, but I will not substantiate a win of the Titans versus.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't do it.
And what
I have
you
no
got?
way to-
My
Tika.
picks are the same as Thaddeus. I'm going Steelers over Saints, Ravens over Saints, and Eagles over Titans.
All righty.
I think the Ravens,
What's the Ravens' record right now?
I don't know, but I
they're
think
6
we
and
got
4.
They're 6-4. There's a lot of
Yeah.
6 and
then
4
what's-
teams in the
what's
league.
what's the Saints' record?
I'm not sure.
Saints, they're under 500, I believe.
Yeah, everyone
Yeah.
in that
They're
division
4
is
and
under
6.
500.
Yeah.
They're 4-6.
Atlanta's
The
leading
NFC
the
South
Yeah.
is
Okay,
just
cool.
horrible.
But I wouldn't be a bit surprised. I'm just putting it out there that the Saints win one of those games. For them to lose both of those games is kind of unrealistic. But
hey,
at
you
the
know.
same
We'll see.
time, I'm
We'll
not going to pick the
see.
Ravens. I'm not going to choose the Ravens
I mean, you're not going to
or
pick
the Saints
over
over the
Ravens.
Ravens,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to choose the Saints over
The Steelers.
the Steelers either. So,
Okay.
All right, so we'll find out. Thank you guys for watching, and we really appreciate all your comments.
Reclavor, is that I say that right? Reclavor.
Yeah, something.
Reclavor, thank you so much for tuning in every week.
Yeah,
you're
you're our
truly
number one
a
fan,
faithful
for sure.
fan.
And
I
Fantasy
appreciate
Stats Guru
Fantasy
gets a
Stats,
shout out
yes,
too. But I
exactly.
love
But
Brother
we love when
Kabocha.
you correct us, help us
Yeah.
out, give us stats, all that kind of stuff. We love it. So, guys, tell them where they can find you.
You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at I am Steph with an FZ. SEFZ.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at HeyKevinJohn. And please read my sports blogs on my website, www.itskevinjohn.com.
and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Club Thaddeus.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Tina Cap. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Peace out. Niners.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Yeah.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.